Welcome back. Howdy.
Let's put my big cheesy smile.
Bienvenue.
I don't know any others. Bonjour.
Hola. Hey, Windows Server Administration Fundamentals.
Yep, we're back. Module 6.
Module 6.
Awesome.
I am Thomas Willingham, and I'm with
Christopher Chapman.
And we are here to impart knowledge about file and print services. Module 6.
That's today.
The skills and concepts, introducing NTFS, sharing drives and folders, looking at printers, enabling auditing.
Yep.
So types of NTFS permissions. So really quick, NTFS is a type of file system that manages and stores files on a drive. There are two types of permissions used in NTFS. Explicit permissions. These are permissions explicitly granted at a specific level or file.
Or explicitly denied.
Correct. Or inherited permissions. So that's permissions from folders above in the structure, higher in the structure, that flow down and are referred to as inherited. That last bullet, besides allowing, you can also specifically deny permissions. File and folder owners. So the owner of an object gets to control the object, how permissions are set, and to whom permissions are granted. If for some reason you've been denied access, you need to reset the permissions by taking ownership of the file or folder and modifying the permissions, but you must have the ability or permission set to take ownership.
Yep.
So that's more administrative functionality than just normal user functionality. As a normal user, I can't just go to Christopher's user directory and take ownership. I must have administrative capability within the system, then I can.
And in a perfectly configured network, you can't even get to my user folder to take permission, hopefully.
Correct. Yeah, I can't even see it.
Yep.
And the last bullet, all administrators automatically have the take ownership permission. In the last module, we talked about a little bit about groups, and one of the better methods for associating permissions is the use of groups. So instead of associating individual permissions to 5 users, you create a single group, add the 5 users to the group, and then whenever I want to add somebody to the group, or give somebody those permissions, I just add them to the group. If I want somebody in the group to no longer have those permissions, I just take them out. And then demo time, NTFS permissions.
Is it demo time
It
already?
is demo time.
All right,
Actually,
so
there's back-to-back.
Okay. Well, luckily, I'm already set up. So we're on, in this case, my local machine. I don't know what this is. We're going to move that to there. Here are just the default. I opened up Explorer, right? If I close this, there's an Explorer icon by default down here. I'm looking at it. Right-click, any folder, properties. Not that one. How did documents take me there? There we go. That's what I wanted to come up.
Ta-da!
Document properties, security. Everything we're going to talk about is right here in security. Group of users' names and the permissions they have. I want to change these, so I click Edit. It's going to open up a new tab, very similar, but with the ability of me to modify. That's pretty much the short version.
And then you could add users and groups here.
I can add new people. Oops. I'm not going to add people. I'm going to leave it as is. I can add new people. I can remove people. I can change the permissions that those people or other people that already exist have. I can go to Advanced and control inheritance. Right here. I can disable inheritance, so this folder is not getting permissions from things above it, and I can set specific permissions on it. I can replace all child objects, everything below this object, this folder, everything within it, to take the permissions I set on it right now. Auditing we haven't gotten to yet. Effective access, I think the next demo is effective access. We'll jump right into that. I can jump in here, select a user. It's going to tell me what permissions that user has on this folder. Now again, this interface is a little bit different. This is 2012, or this particular machine I think is Windows 8. Is that correct, producer Danny? I get a thumbs up and a question mark. This is the newest generation. It's either Windows 8.1 or Server 2012 R2. So this interface is not what you'll see in 2008 or 2008 R2. It's still, the tab is there. It looks a little bit different.
And one of the reasons you may need to figure out effective permissions for a given user within a directory structure, because you may be thinking, well, it seems pretty straightforward, but what if a user is a member of multiple groups that have different types of permissions with different parts of the structure, the file structure, and you want to know what their specific permissions are at this level right here for this file or this directory.
It's gonna track that down for you.
So it comes in very handy.
It does.
So copying and moving files. Not only is there literally a difference between, hey, I'm just leaving this file set here and I'm also adding these files over here, so copying, or I'm taking these files and removing them from this area here and putting them in this area here. My hands are so multifunctional.
They are. They're actually, I'm noticing a lot of hand motion today, so it's good.
Yeah, a lot of client server files. Now they're files being copied and moved. And by the way, thumbs. Thumbs are awesome. So when copying and moving files, the following three scenarios may result. If a file or folder is copied, the new folder or file will automatically acquire the permissions of the driver folder to which it's being copied. That's one of the functionalities of copying. If a folder or file is moved within the same volume, the file or folder will retain its permissions that were already assigned. If a file or folder is moved from one volume to a new volume, the file or folder will automatically acquire the permissions of the drive to which it is being moved.
I should have thought to change the word acquire in these slides to inherit.
Correct.
That would make more sense.
It would make more sense.
Inherit.
But acquire,
Same idea.
acquire, inherit.
Yep.
Encryption. So encryption is the process of data conversion into a format that is not easily accessible by another user. Once a file is encrypted, it stays, or folder, once a file or folder is encrypted, it remains encrypted until it's decrypted. So it remains encrypted on the storage media, whatever that storage media is. And then decrypting is the process of enabling it to be used again. It's back to its original format. Once a file has been decrypted, it stays decrypted on this disk. Encrypting the file system, EFS, is a core file encryption technology used to store encrypted files on NTFS. They cannot be used unless a user has access to the keys required.
We're not going to go into keys, but just know that's how it functions.
To decrypt it.
Keys are used.
Keys are used, like keys to a house. Only people who have keys to the house can access the house.
It's similar.
For our purposes,
That's
it's
as far as
good
we're
enough.
Go.
It
that's
is
as far
good
as we're going
enough.
Because that is another one of those conversations that leads to weeks. We're going to need food and water delivered so that we can talk about certificates and keys. The end.
After a file's been encrypted, you do not have to manually decrypt that file before you can use it. If you have the keys, you can just access it. Once you encrypt a file or folder, you can work with that file or folder just as you would any other file or folder. But people who do not have access to that structure will be unable to access that file. Which brings us to a demo for encrypting the file system.
Easy enough.
Christopher?
I have it on the screen. We're here and ready to go. So I'm going to jump to, that's not desktop, there's nothing there. Documents, there's something in documents. So this will work. It's really actually pretty simple. Considering the complication of the keys and the process in the background with encrypting and closing and then encrypting again, right-click, Properties on a file, Advanced, Encrypt. This file and its parent, just the file only. There is a caveat to this, and it says so on here. If this file is modified, the editing software might store a temporary unencrypted copy of the file. For instance, Word when you open a Word document, actually creates a shadow copy of that document that you're editing. It's prefaced with a character, and it's hidden, so in normal circumstances, you don't see it. That's not an encrypted copy. Someone can take that and read it. So they're warning me right now. If I want to make sure everything in this folder stays encrypted, including files created as part of an editing process, I have to encrypt the parent folder as well. I'm going to do the file only. Click OK once. And this is kind of a neat little feature of Windows. I like that it does this. Turns it green.
Oh,
so
to
now I know,
visually indicate.
Now I know this file is encrypted.
One of these things is not like the other.
Indeed. And, nope, not going to go there. That's all that matters. Right click.
There you go. Ta-da.
And I'll unencrypt it. Right click. Advanced. Uncheck. Done.
Oh, look at that. It is now no longer green.
Yep.
I've heard that it's not easy being green. Just something I've heard.
It's easy to turn things green, at least in Windows.
Yep. Sharing folders. So we have, it's hand time. We have clients, we have servers. Servers provide services, client requests services. One of the functionalities or roles of a server is file and print services, which means they can store files on the server. To access those files, a client doesn't typically log into the server to access those files. Instead, what happens is a share is created. A share is an area of the file server, of the file structure on the file server, that is available over the network to users with the appropriate level of permissions. Let's make sure I have all this covered here. Accessing the files over the network. Permissions are used to ensure that unauthorized access is disabled. And then to access a share, it uses UNC, Uniform Network Code.
UNC?
I'm totally blanking out on the acronym.
Universal Naming Convention.
There we go, Universal Naming Convention, which is whack server name, whack share name. I don't know why I forgot UNC. Totally blanked out.
We get used to using UNC, and you forget what it means. It happens.
Demo time, sharing folders. What do sharing folders look like?
I like that I can do all these demos right here. It's terrific. Same folder, documents. Let's share it. Right click. Now there are a couple of ways to do this. In fact, I'm going to have to do 2 demos, but that's fine. Share with specific people.
Ta-da!
Done.
And notice name resolution there, and then you've associated a permission level. Now, something that I'm going to throw out there, but we're not really going to talk about, is there is a share level permission, and then there's the NTFS level of permission. That's all I'm going to mention, is that it's there. You want to talk about it so bad.
I do.
But
we're not going to.
But that's all we're going to talk about that.
So I click share, and it's done. You can now read documents from the documents folder on this computer using a UNC path.
Whack, computer name, whack, share name.
Yep. I can also right click, go to properties. There's a sharing tab. And I can click on share, and it'll bring up the same interface it just did. Or I can do advanced sharing, which gives me a little bit more control, a little more granular. I can set a different share name, set specific permissions. It's a much more involved interface, but it does exist. So 2 different ways to share folders.
So while you created the share, you managed some share permissions, full control, change, and read. Those are the share permissions. Again, there are also NTFS permissions for the file system. When you combine those two, you use what's referred to as most restrictive. So if one says full control and the other says read, you effectively get read. Users can be members of several groups. So it is possible that they have several sets of explicit permissions for a particular file or folder. When this happens, the permissions are additive to form effective permissions. And these are referred to as effective permissions and are used when the user accesses those files. Now there is another demo, network discovery and browsing.
All right, so this one, in fact, I'm going to go to, let's go, where am I going here? There we go. All right, so I'm on my demo, and I'm guessing this is turned off. Open Network and Sharing Center. Wait for that to open. It shouldn't take long. The server's a little overburdened at this point. And while that comes up, actually, I wanted to do something else. We're going to open this Explorer because this is 2008, and I wanted to show the sharing options for 2008 and how they're a little bit different. Properties. Oh, that's a library. Let's go to desktop. There we go. Right-click. I can do share with. Same idea, specific people. Brings up a similar interface. Or right-click, properties, sharing, advanced sharing. So pretty much same options. You're not going to see much difference. The security is also the same. There's an edit button here to bring up the separate window. There's an advanced for your permissions and your inheritance and all of that. This is what's different. The effective permissions, notice it is a little bit different. Just a touch. So that's all. Close that. Come back to here. Network and sharing. So I've got my network and sharing center set up. And one nice, easy way to see if this is even turned on, let's go back to that Explorer window and click on network. So there you go. I'm discovering other servers on my network, other computers on my network, which means network sharing is turned on. Network discovery is turned on. It's a service you could turn on and off.
So there are two services that are needed. Mm-hmm. On the client, you need the workstation service. And on the server, you need the server service. And then as of 2008, you additionally need to turn on the functionality you just mentioned.
Network discovery, yep. So I'm opening that up. In the Network and Sharing Center, I clicked on Choose Advanced Sharing Settings. Change sharing options for different network profiles. We haven't talked about network profiles. We don't cover that in this course, I don't believe. But you can see I am connected to a certain profile. Networks right here, domain network. This could also be work, or it could be home, or it could be private, or it could be public, depending on your definitions and how you've built different profile options. On this server, home or work is one option. Public is another. Turn off network discovery, turn off file and printer sharing. So this is two ways. Network discovery, if it's off, when I go to that network option, I don't see anything. I'm not going to find anything. In addition, incoming, I've turned off file and printer sharing, so no one outside can see into the files and printers that I've got on my computer.
So you're at the coffee shop. Somebody opens up their network browsing. They're not going to see your computer on the coffee shop network.
And this is automatic. Because if I go to a coffee shop, it's going to detect that it's a public network, and it's automatically going to put these settings in place. So I don't have to worry about, is my computer visible? Do I need to change profiles? Do I need to change something to get that security locked down? I don't. But if I'm at home, I'm on my domain. Now this is on, file and printer sharing is on. Network discovery is actually off. And in this case is visible to other computers. So if I go to, let me see, let's go to my other server, server vert. And here, and network, turned off, not visible.
Denied.
You can turn it on. But because, again, file sharing is on, and in fact, you'll notice server web is not, oh, there's server web, there's server vert. So let me go back to server web. And here, and now it's going to come up because I just turned it on. Yeah, there's server vert. So, yeah, that was already there. So now I can see the shares because I just enabled file and printer sharing on server vert. Now that's been on because I use that as a file sharing server for all my clients for my group policy points people. So I think that's it to this. Yeah, network profiles, advanced settings, public folder sharing. All Windows operating systems come with public folders nowadays. If I go to C, users, and you'll see all these normal users. You'll see my users, administrator, but there's also public. Inside of public, there's public documents, public downloads, public music. I can use these to ensure that some information is always visible. When public folder sharing is on, people on the network, including home group members, non-domain members, can access files in the public folders. So another option.
And this just gives you a variety of options when dealing with networking.
Yes, and it's an MTA, and again, we're still in the same territory where we're just scratching the surface. Implementing these features, learning how to use them effectively in a large or small environment with multiple users, with multiple computers, with lots of things being shared. It's some time, it's some experience, it's some effort, it's some additional learning. So we're just scratching the surface for you.
So you've talked about sharing. There are also administrative shares that by default are created on the server, and actually any system. There are administrative shares. They're for administrative purposes, and they're typically hidden. To create a hidden share, the share name must have a $sign at the end of it. By default, the ones that people are probably most familiar with are like $, $D, $, $E. Those are drive, administrative drive systems. And I think there's also, system $sign for the network directory?
Sysvol.
Sysvol. There you go, Sysvol $sign. Other hidden shares can be created as needed for individual folders for your own purposes. Again, so Christopher brought up network browsing. He clicked on a server and it showed the associated shares. Anything with the $sign after it will not be discoverable in that method. You will need to know the name of the share explicitly, so you can type in whack server name and then whack $sign or whatever the admin share is.
Do I have a demo for this?
You don't, but let's take a look at this really quick because it's kind of interesting and just to demonstrate the functionality.
Well, and it shows you NC paths because we talked about it, but we haven't done anything to show you NC paths. So I'll pull that up real quick and we'll take a look. So I'm starting from just a desktop. I've opened up the run box, and you'll notice a UNC path starts with 2 backslashes. I'm using the computer that I'm sitting at, and that's all we're going to do. We're going to look at that. There's a users folder, which means that's public. It's visible.
Discoverable.
Yeah. But that's it. You don't see anything else. However, if I click up here and I add $, there's the whole C drive for this computer. It's shared administratively. And it's not something that actually it might be, let me open properties, sharing, advanced. So it's not shared, but it's shared.
Right.
An advanced way to see this, just for fun, for people who want to know more. Oh, not giving me a net use list. Usually that shows those, used to show the administrative shares. I may not be an admin on this computer. Let me see if this will work here. Nope, it's just my full one. It's not. But let me go back to sharing. So this, properties, sharing, advanced. Nope, still doesn't show it. So the administrative shares are invisible from both a user standpoint, as we've seen, and an administrative standpoint in this interface. You cannot come in here and modify that. Now I can try. I want to hide it. I want to share my C drive but keep it hidden. Oh, already exists. So the fact you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I think that's it. That's it for that demo.
That's it? That was
UNC, sharing.
administrative shares.
Yep, administrative shares.
Network printing. So with the printer, it used to be you would attach a printer to a single system. That single system could use that printer. A system not hooked up directly to that printer could not use it. With network printing, multiple printers can share the same printer. Cost-effective solution in an office instead of giving everybody their specific printers. And then it mentions the multiple types of printers, either local, direct attached to a system, or network attached to the network itself. Printing in Windows. When you install a physical printer, Microsoft refers to this as the print device. You must obviously first connect the printer and power it up. Next, you need to create a logical printer, and Microsoft refers to this as the printer. Provides software interface between the print device and the applications. This is the device driver. When you create the printer, you also load a print driver. Oh, I always get the printer and the print driver mixed up because of our terminology.
Well, there's also
it's confusing.
And this is something we're going to bring up later. I thought about this while I was building the slide for this deck. Microsoft defines a printer and a print device and a print driver. A printer is not necessarily what you consider a printer sitting on a desk or under a desk somewhere printing from. That's a print device. A printer, at least from a network printing standpoint, is the object in AD or on the printer or on the server that you've installed that printer on that I'm going to print to. The reason there's a differentiation is because I may print to a printer that actually has 4 devices behind it using pooling, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. So there is some terminology confusion,
right.
drivers. I'll be flat out honest. I hate printers. Hate them. Hate managing them. Hate administering them. I think I've talked about this in another course. Hate printers. Mentioned that to an interviewer once. They said, "What's your weakest thing in IT?" Printers? So, we'll start with printers. Note to self, next time, DNS should be my answer. But yeah, so printers, print devices, print drivers, all separate things defined by Microsoft. A printer is the logical printer on a server. The print device is the physical device plugged into that or connected to that logical device.
And then the driver is the device driver.
Yep, the driver between the server and the physical device.
To install the printer, obviously you need to have correct permissions in Active Directory to install it, either local or remote shared. After the printer is installed, it will appear in Devices and Printers folder as well as in the Device Manager. This is if you installed it locally. If you've installed it remotely, you'll have to manually add it. Unless, group policy, you've pushed it down to your system. So here shows the device, the client, the printer. There's a wire or a tail on the printer with an arrow.
And it's installed. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
That was fun.
The end.
That was a fun animation.
So now a demo of adding printers.
All right, so let's do this. Let's go here. All right, let's minimize this, bring up this. All right, here we go. I'm in my demo environment. I want to install a printer, and I'm using a server. So I'm going to try and demonstrate a couple of different things all at once. Control panel, system network, hardware. Add a device. Now it's going to search and give me options for what to install that are already here.
So it's browsing.
It is browsing. And I'm waiting. I'm going to change that and go to Advanced Printer Setup. Let's cancel device and go to Printer. The printer that I want wasn't listed, so I'm not finding any printers. So I click that, select printer by name, add a printer by using this. I'm going to add a local printer. For now, just a local printer. Next. Use an existing port. This is a local parallel port connecting my computer to the printer physically. Next. Install the driver. Let's go with one of the greatest printers ever made. Oh, don't tell me that. Oh, it's color. I'm in the color section. I don't want color. I want... Where is it? It's got to be here. They finally got rid of the LaserJet 4.
Denied.
That almost upsets me. One of the workhorse printers in the world. All right, let's pick up an HP LaserJet. 4100. Next. Done. I'm installing. I don't want to share it right now. I've now installed a local printer, and I could print a test page. We're not going to do that yet, but we're going to get to that. So now, devices and printers. Here's a printer I just installed. Done. Now let's say this is a server, and I do want to share this out. Properties. All I've got is this local. There's nothing I can do. There is no sharing anything. Remove. Yes. We're going to add a printer again. Wasn't listed. We are going to add a local printer. Again on parallel port 1. We're going to pick the same one. Use the driver that's currently installed is fine. Also fine. Now I want to share it. I can put in a location. I put this in by hand. It guides my users to where the printer physically is in whatever building it's in. It's very, very, very useful information that you should put in every time you install a network printer. People want to know where the printers are.
Building 109, 4th floor,
Exactly.
room, blah.
Exactly. So here it is. It's now installed, and it's shared. Properties, general, and hardware. Nothing's different.
So now we've talked about file sharing. This is providing services to a printer instead of to files.
Now, this, and this is where it gets a little complicated. The device itself, when I right-click properties, I'm managing the properties for that device. Up here, print server properties. This is where I want to, I don't know, say install additional drivers for that printer. Add. I want to install x86 drivers. I want older legacy operating systems that may be installed in my network to be able to find and use this printer.
Okay, so you're installing drivers that the local system may not use. So why do you need to install those drivers?
Because it will pass them to the client machines when they add this printer.
Correct. So as a client requests to use that printer, it will look at what drivers it has and say which driver you need and then pass it the appropriate driver.
Exactly. Now I can't actually finish this. I selected x86 and I have to have the drivers downloaded to do. It doesn't include the x86 versions, so I'd have to have a disk. So I can't actually add those. Let me see if I can do one just for fun. Add x64. We'll stick with the same printer because, well, it is the same printer. Oh, here we go. Nope, still not in there. Darn. LaserJet 4100 series. So there, I installed the 4100 series PS class driver. It's just, it's already done. So I'm gonna hit finish. It's already there. It didn't change anything. So I'd have to find the 36 or the x86 drivers for this printer. I'd have to find them and install them manually, which I would do through the same process but with the have disk button. Security, who can use a printer? Everyone can print. Everyone can view the server. Not everyone can manage it. Creator, owner, and administrators. Administrator can do everything.
And one thing to note here is that these permissions are very similar to permissions for file services.
No, the interface is.
The interface, yeah, that I'm sorry, that's what I mean is the UI is similar, so there's a consistency of experience between I'm associating permissions to an object, a file, a printer, or whatever. There's going to be a consistency of experience between managing those different objects.
Yep. I think that's pretty much it for printers.
So what you've done is you set up a single printer on a system. What happens if you have a whole bunch of users that all need access to that printer? That maybe you're a law firm and you have to print out reams of documentation, reams of content. Single printer may not do it, and it becomes unwieldy to say, oh, well, if printer A doesn't work, then try printer B or printer C or printer D.
That's just a nightmare.
That becomes very confusing. So instead, what you can create are printer pools. Printer pools are multiple physical devices associated to a single printer. So multiple print devices associated to a single printer. So now, when I go to print to printer, room, whatever, it could print to any of 4 or 5 devices. One thing to keep in mind I was working with a company one time, and they were having problems where periodically print jobs were being printed on this one printer on the other side of campus, and somebody had made that printer on the other side of the campus part of a printer pool.
Oh, nice.
Somehow.
So they accidentally put it in the wrong pool. And
Yes. So every once in a while, random documents would get, because it was also associated to multiple printers. So every once in a while, it would get print jobs from this like other area of campus. It was quite weird.
Nice.
Printer properties, again, objects have properties, wide range of options, a lot of times print options, what paper type are you going to use, layout of the paper. These are associated with the printer driver. And again, different printers will have different functionality. Typically, newer printers have additional functionality than older printers. Printer permissions, which you've dealt with, who can use the printer, who can manage the printer, who can manage print jobs in the print queue.
Yep, which we saw.
Which there's actually a demo now for it, managing print jobs, but you've actually kind of already done that.
Well, I can do this. I was thinking about this actually when we were going through the demos originally. I'm going to open up that printer that I installed. Right-click Properties. And it's not on these pages. Right-click again. There should be an option. See, and this, I'll be the first one to admit that, again, I hate printers. I don't use printers. I avoid printers as much as I can. Printer Properties. So now I'm in the Printer Properties print test page. Gives me an error right away, but what I'm demonstrating is that down here, there's a queue. And this queue shows me what's going on. Now, I'm lucky. I'm an administrator. I can come in here, right-click, cancel. I can do this for any job. If 100 people have submitted jobs, I can cancel any of those jobs. As a user, I can cancel my own. I can do this for jobs I submit. But as a user, this is your interface into a print server or a print device. You're going to use this spooler icon. Ooh, very valuable information. And I don't know if I can give it the right way because it would violate some of our rules against testing. But a very valuable piece of advice. If ever anything is wrong with printing, anything at all, on any server or any workstation, something's not working, restart this service. The end.
Ta-da.
This will fix 90% of printer problems. If the printer was working fine before and all of a sudden it stopped, restart this, it's probably going to fix it.
Which brings us to the print spooler folder. So the print spooler folder is, bless you, Danny, the producer, who just sneezed. Off camera, so you didn't get to see. He works the magic behind the scenes and makes us look good. So the print spooler folder is a folder that as print jobs come in, they get thrown into this folder, and then the print server manages this print queue.
I have it up on my screen if we want to jump to that real quick.
Sure.
The path is configurable, again, through the print server properties of a given printer. There's an advanced tab with the spool folder.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Internet printing. So now you can enable printing over the intertubes. So if you're at a coffee shop, you're browsing the web, you found a picture of a cat, haha, really funny, I want to print that to my server at home, you can access it over the internet. So you can install the Internet Printing Role service and then install the Internet Printing Client. And then you can manage this server using the web interface, HTTP, server name, WAC printers. So we've talked about printing. Now let's talk about auditing. Auditing is the ability to track what users and objects in the structure are doing. Authentication is used to prove the identity of a user. Authorization gives access to the user that was authenticated. And then to complete the picture, there's auditing. So we have authentication, authorization, and auditing. Auditing tracks what objects do or don't do in the system. One thing that you can audit is NTFS files and folders. You can audit access to files and folders. You must first enable object access using group policy. Additionally, you must specify the objects to audit, which brings us to the auditing demo.
That's weird. It's like this is a pattern.
I see we talk about a things and stuff, and then you show a things and stuff.
Indeed. It's weird. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. All right, so what do we want to do? What do we want to do? All right. The first step to showing you auditing, let's open a folder. Let's go to pictures. This will work. I don't want libraries. I want an actual folder. Program files. Windows Mail.
So first step, did you enable auditing on the system?
Not there yet.
Oh.
Hold on. Getting ahead of me.
Okay.
Auditing.
I'm getting excited.
You are. Security, advanced, auditing. Relatively straightforward. Add, select a principal. You know what? Cancel that. Cancel. This is going to work because I don't remember my password. Yeah, I don't remember it. But that's okay. I don't need this to work for the demo. So close that. I select the users. In this case, I could say domain users. I select success, this folder and subfolders and files, and then I tell it what I want to audit, basically. I want to see a record of all successful reads of this file, modifications of this file, or folders underneath it. Or I want to see all successful failures of attempts to do those things. That's really pretty straightforward. You come in here, you pick your principals, you put in an entry for what you want to audit those people doing. All your domain users accessing a folder. Pretty straightforward. The problem is, well, there are two. One, where do you go once you've turned it on to see the results? Where does the server tell me this has happened, this person has done this or tried to do this and failed? And two, it's not going to do that anyways. I'll tell you where it sets it up. It sends those pieces of information to the event viewer.
Event viewer.
Yep, event viewer indeed. So when you turn on auditing, well, I'm going to word this very, very oddly. When you enable auditing on a folder, when you go in and set up auditing on a folder, event viewer is where you should but will not see auditing entries. Because by default, auditing as a technology is not turned on. So you can come in and set up all your folders, set up all the auditing you want, set up your permissions, set up the users and what you want to audit. You still have to come into local security policy and turn on auditing. You have to enable it before any of this is going to work. And it's right here, local, audit. There you go. And now, again, audit account logon events, success and failure. Now you go to directory access, object access. Now you go to those specific folders and turn on what you want to audit.
So at a granular level, you can tell the system what you do and don't want to audit. So first of all, you need to enable auditing for those parts of the system. You need to set up auditing for those parts of the system. And then you go to Event Viewer to view auditing
the results
from those parts. Yep. The results, exactly.
And you'll notice, I like that this has been added. This setting might not be enforced if other policy is configured to override category level audit policy because we're setting this locally. So that's auditing. I think that's it for that demo.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That's pretty much it. And honestly, that
is that the end?
The end, yeah.
Awesome.
Sadly enough.
Insert normal sales spiel here.
Yes.
Books, courses, exams.
There are additional areas that you can go to for additional information.
And you should.
And we're at the end, so I'm sad. Because we're at the end.
You're always sad at the end.
I know, because it's done, and I want to tell them more.
Well, that I can definitely identify with. I could definitely want to stay and talk more, but they would eventually just be like, it's been 7 hours, I'm tired. I don't want to learn about group policy anymore.
That's right. That's right. There's always stuff to learn. Microsoft Virtual Academy, great resource for learning additional information on things and stuff.
It is. So come back for the next module. There's more here.
Come back.